Do you struggle with stress and overwhelm when life gets a little bit challenging? If this is you, then stick with me as we're going to dive into stress and pressure. We're going to look at what the difference is between the two and why that's important. And I'm going to give you some practical tips and tricks that you can use next time you're starting to feel the stress and getting a bit overwhelmed. I'm your host, Daniel James, and as always, if you're new here, welcome. So let's dive straight in. Pressure versus stress. What's the difference and why do we need to know that there is a difference? Well, pressure is external. The actual definition of pressure is the continuous force exerted on or against an object. Now, in this situation, that object is you. So pressure is being exerted on to you. Stress, on the other hand, by definition, is the body's natural reaction to the threats or pressures. So pressure is the external thing. So if we get over to the whiteboard here, pressure is the thing that's going on and happening to us from the outside. So pressure could be from your boss, it could be from your partner, it could be from whatever it is, but it's an external thing that's coming on to you from the outside. It's external pressures that are happening to you. Stress, on the other hand, is the opposite. Stress is how you respond to the pressure that's going on outside of you. So one of them, you can't control the pressure because that's something outside of yourself over here. But stress is something that you can control because stress is your response to the pressure. And I was talking to a client yesterday and we were literally having a conversation about how they were putting pressure on themselves, which was then creating the stress they're experiencing. And maybe you do the same. Maybe the pressure that you're experiencing is that you can't say no, and maybe you're a people pleaser. So you're picking people up from the airport, or you're taking on extra work assignments, or you're saying that yes, you will bake a cake for the upcoming fair, whatever it is. But that's pressure that you are adding to yourself, which is causing you the stress. So it's important to understand the difference between stress and pressure because one is external, these external demands, again, whatever that may be for you. And one, the stress, is the internal response, which is all to do with your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. I've said this before, the only thing that you can truly control is what you do. You can control your thoughts. You can control your actions. You can't control other people and things that are going on outside of you. And a lot of the times the stress we're feeling is because we're trying to control the uncontrollables. You can't always control pressure, but you can control your response to it. But how do you respond to stress? Do you go into fight mode, where you start to get angry, you get frustrated, or you start to get confrontational, either with yourself, with your partner, with your kids, with your work colleagues? Or do you go into flight mode, where you completely avoid the situation or the person? Or do you start to get overwhelmed because you don't really do anything and you'll be like, I'm just going to kind of avoid that, and then that then leads to the overwhelm because you're avoiding tasks and they're building up? Or do you just kind of shut down, which then ties into freeze? So we've got fight, flight, freeze, which is that paralysis, where we kind of shut down because we're overwhelmed. We're very indecisive, we don't know what to do. Or we start to analyze, and we get that analysis paralysis. You can see here how they kind of tie into each other because maybe you can go into fight and then into flight and then into freeze. Then we also have fawn, which is over accommodating. It's saying yes to everything. It's when our boundaries collapse because there's so much stress is put on us. We don't defend our boundaries and more things keep coming at us. So how do you respond to stress? Just ask yourself now, do you go into fight mode? Do you go into flight mode? Do you freeze or do you fawn? And do you notice the pattern? Maybe you go from flight mode into fawn mode, or just go straight into freeze. But the very first thing in changing is awareness. You need to become aware of what your patterns are. Because if you aren't aware of what your patterns are, you can't do anything about it. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you don't deal with stress well, and you aren't prepared to change anything, then you're always going to have the same response. So we've got to start taking accountability and responsibility for how we're dealing with stress if it's not advantageous to us. Because maybe actually how you're handling stress is great and it's fine. It's not ideal, but you're happy with it and that's fine. This probably isn't for you. But I'm talking to people that know that stress cripples them, and they get so overwhelmed, it just ruins them, either from a friendship point of view, from a work point of view, or a relationship point of view. And I don't want that for you. Because it's important to recognize that our stress system has evolved to handle immediate physical threats. For example, being chased by a tiger or a lion. So straight away, we're getting that stress response and then we relax. Whereas actually right now, we're constantly having this sustained pressure put on us. We have societal pressures. We have to look a certain way, act a certain way, behave a certain way, earn a certain amount of money, have a certain job title. Our kids have got to act and be a certain way. Our partner has to be and act a certain way. We're expected to watch all these TV shows. It's constant stress. And the biggest stress is your phone, which is now with you 24/7. And if your phone's not there with you, how many of you are wearing a smartwatch? And maybe feel the pressure to get your steps in. Our stress response was not designed to be put under this much pressure. And because of this, our stress response, is on overdrive because our thoughts are continually being hooked onto by this pressure, where we're constantly replaying the pressure over and over and over again, because we need to think about it. If we were chased by a tiger or a lion, it'd be natural for us to replay that incident. When we're in that high stress response, it'd be natural for us afterwards to think, right, how did I handle that running with a lion or a tiger? What could I do differently? So that's the natural way we deal with it. But because it's constant, our thoughts are now on a continual loop of us replaying all the pressures, which is then adding even more pressure to us, which is then giving us feelings of anxiety, of overwhelm, of complete discomfort. And it's just recognizing the fact that it's because our systems were not designed with this kind of pressure in mind. So we've already asked ourselves, well, do you go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? But the next question to ask yourself is, how do you actually respond to stress physically? Do your muscles get tight? Do you start to notice you've got rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing? Are you constantly fatigued? Do you have headaches? Do you have constantly racing thoughts, as we just discussed? Difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, constantly stuck in negative thought patterns. All of these are signs of stress. Are you snapping at your partner? Are you snapping at your kids? Are you working longer hours? Are you avoiding difficult conversations? Are you procrastinating? All of these are signs of stress. And remember, stress is something that we can control. So maybe take a personal stress audit right now and ask yourself, okay, what physical signs do I have? What physical signals do I have that I'm very stressed? Do you have tension throughout your body? Are you constantly feeling fatigued? How about headaches, migraines? What emotional triggers are you experiencing? Are you constantly in a state of uncertainty? Can't handle criticism? Are you putting extra time pressures on yourself to get things done? And what's the impact on these decisions? Are you rushing? Are you avoiding? Are you overthinking? Just give yourself a minute to ask yourself, how do you handle stress? Because from there, we can then do something about it. If we're not aware, if we don't have awareness of it, then we can't do anything about it. So let's say we've noticed that we are in a very stressed state. What is it that we can do about it? What can we do about this situation that we found ourselves in? We can practice something called the stop principle. Now, the stop principle can be used when you're noticing that you are getting really, really overwhelmed, you're really, really worked up, and you start to spot all those signs we just listed. Maybe your heart rate is going, maybe you're starting to snap. And what this allows you to do is just take a breath. The stop technique allows you to respond to situations rather than reacting. Because how many times have you been super stressed? You reacted, and it's made it even worse. The goal of using this stop technique is to help you react and not respond. So when emotions are running high, use this technique for a 2-minute reset. Number 1, stop. Just stop whatever it is you're doing. Once you start to notice that you're getting into that heightened state, just stop. Whatever it is, pen down, step back, stop. Then from there, just take 3 big deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 3 big deep breaths. Then observe, what are you feeling? And maybe where are you feeling it? But start to check in. Observe, how are you feeling? And then the P is process. Process how you're feeling with intention. Actually look into it, process, okay, why am I feeling this way? And more importantly, what can I do about it? Or what would I like to do about it? Because then you then go back into that stressful situation and you can choose to respond in a different way, which will give you a different outcome than what would have happened if you'd gone straight in there in that heightened state, worked up, heart pounding, adrenaline pumping. So give yourself those 2 minutes, just breathe. Use this maybe before responding to a difficult email, when you're feeling overwhelmed about a to-do list, or when you get some unexpected bad news. Just stop, center yourself, and respond, and don't react. You can also use the 3 C's framework. So when you're facing a challenge, ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, can I control it? Whatever the situation is, can you control it? And if the answer is yes, take action. Do the thing to take control of that situation. And again, remember, the things you can control is your response to situations, how you communicate with people, and your preparation and planning going into a situation. But maybe you can't control it. Then in which case, go on to question 2. Can you influence it? This thing that's happening, can you influence it? If the answer is yes, use your influence. Do what you can do to help that situation. But if not, move on to question 3. Can I accept it? Can you expect the unexpected issues that have popped up? Can you accept the bad weather that's maybe caused delays? Can you accept the last minute changes? Because when you do this, you can focus your energy where it matters most. But life's not always going to be perfect. There's always going to be stress. People that tell you can get rid of stress aren't telling the truth. Stress is a natural part of life. But it's just making sure that we separate ourselves from that stress and we start to choose the thoughts and the actions that we're going to take so that we move our life in the direction that we want to go. I hope this has added value. I hope this has helped you in some way, shape, or form. If you know somebody that constantly struggles with stress or keeps adding more pressure to their already stressful life, don't forget to share this with them. Until next time, take it easy.